Hi everyone, my name is Nicole and today I'm going to go through how to apply for the TAP Foundation course for young adults. I'm going to take you step by step through the application process on the website. Just before we start, I want to draw your attention to our contact details. If you want to contact us by email, you can contact us on foundationcourse@tcd.ie, and then our number here is 018963851. So that's if any questions arise during the application process, you can contact us here. There's this link to the website, which I'll show you now, and then the closing date for young adults is 27th of February 2026. So just keep that in mind as you make your application. Okay, so I'm going to show you where to get the application link. I'm going to make this full screen. It's pretty easy to find. If you look up TAP Foundation course for young adults specifically on Google, you'll find it right there. So I'm in there right now, and if we go to the top and scroll down a little bit, on the apply here for 2026-27, if you click there, that will bring you to the main portal for applications. So if you've never been on this site before, you will set up as a new user and you'll put your first name, surname, date of birth, email address, and make sure it's an email address you can easily access, and then you'll make a password as well. But I don't need to do that because I've already set up my details, so I'm just going to log in. So what's really handy here is that you can come back and access the application as many times as you need before you submit it and by the deadline. So if, for example, you just do a bit of your contact details and you do 4 or 5 of these and you've run out of time, you can save it and come back to it. Or maybe you start doing a part of the application and you realize, oh, I don't know how to do this or what the answer is to this. You can come back, get your answer, go away, get your answer, and then come back and fill it in. So as long as you get it in before the deadline, that's all that matters. So the first page is to fill in your details, which is nice and easy. You're putting your title, your name, your date of birth, your gender, your country of birth, and your nationality. So save and continue. Then you go into contact details, so you put in your home address, your phone number, and then you have 2 questions at the bottom here. Can we contact you to help with your application? You pick yes or no. And then, is your correspondence address the same as your home address? So what this is asking is this address here the one that you live in right now and that you get post to? So if it is, that's grand, press yes and keep going. If not, you press no, and then you have the option to put in another address, which is the one you usually get post to. So then we can save and continue. Then the next question is about residency status. So you're going to put in the country that you're living in. You're living in at the moment, which here I would presume is Ireland. And then you put in your county, and then you select your residency status. So this is something you might want to ask your parents about. You might know, but you might need to ask your parents about, or if you're really unsure, you can contact Foundation Course or contact Trinity and they'll be able to help you. So the first one is you've been in the European Union for 3 of the past 5 years and you're ordinarily resident in the EU, UK, EEA or Swiss Confederation. Next one is about having worked in the European Union. Next one is having a passport from any of these regions. Then there's having refugee status, and then that you are ordinarily resident but you haven't been here for 3 of the past 5 years, or you don't know. You don't fall under any of these categories. Again, it's good to check with either people at home or Trinity or even your school which one you fall under if you're not sure. Then you have to provide documentation to prove this. So this might be your parents' P60, statement of liability and social welfare documentation. And then, you can ask your parents or whoever's at home to help you with this. And again, any questions, let us know. If you have a European health insurance card number, put it in here. If you don't worry about it. Okay, then we'll continue. So now you're going to be asked, is English your first language? So if it is, you press yes and continue. Nice and easy. If it's not, you press no. And it'll ask you, were you educated through English? Yes or no, it doesn't matter, it's the same process. And then it asks, do you have an English language qualification? So if you say yes, it'll ask you to give details of the qualification. Maybe you did the Cambridge exam, you did IELTS, you did a communications module on the PLC, or so on. And if you haven't, you press no, and I'll ask you which test you're planning to take and when. So keep going there. Then you're going to put in details of second level education. So this is secondary schools you went to in Ireland or elsewhere. You can list up to 3. Then you have second level examinations. Did you do the Leaving Cert? Did you do the equivalent of a Leaving Cert in another country? You put it here and the month and the year, and then you'll actually provide the document itself if you've already done it. Maybe you've done a PLC, or you've done a level 4 or level 3, and this is where you put it under post-secondary education. And then it asks, have you ever been admitted to Trinity College before? So this only applies if maybe you started a course in Trinity, decided it wasn't for you and dropped out, then you just need to declare that. But if you haven't, you can just press no and continue. The next one is, we're asking, where did you hear about this course? So maybe, you've had people from TAP come to your school, and then you would put visit school by TCD or Trinity representative. Maybe a friend told you about it, and maybe your school counsellor told you. Whatever way you've heard about the course, just let us know. So let's put school counsellor. Next one is, we're asking questions about here. So you have to answer if you've applied for here, the higher education access route. That's just yes or no. Then, have you applied through the CAO, yes or no? If you have, you put in your CAO number. Then you answer what degree, diploma are you interested in studying. This doesn't need to be 100% certain, just whatever you're kind of geared towards. Then you're answering, have you taken part in any outreach activities with TAP or another access service? So for example, I put here, someone came to my school for a HEAR talk, because a lot of you would have heard about the foundation course from the HEAR talk. In 5th year I took part in the summer school in Trinity. Anything at all. There's no wrong answers here. Then some of these are similar. If you've applied for HEAR, you would have gotten a lot of these questions already. The next one is, do you or your parents have a HSE medical card or a GP visit card that is in date as of 31st December 2025? So that's yes or no. If you do, you will need to upload a medical GP visit card form. So I'll show you what that looks like quickly. Here it goes. So it looks like this. You bring it into your GP and you get them to, you bring it into the health service executive and get them to fill it out. So that's that one. Here we go. Back to full screen. So so this is about the medical card. You fill in the form. This is what I mean about coming back in and out of the application form. Maybe you start this but you don't have the form yet, so then you'll come back and put it in. These documents you have later to upload them. You have until the 28th of March 2026, and make sure for the medical card that you get the year right. It's 2025. So now you're asked questions about, do you wish to be considered under one or more of the following categories? So a question is, are you currently in the care of the state, TUSLA, or were you previously in the care of the state /HSE? If the answer is yes, then you will need to provide a form from TUSLA, and I will show you what that looks like. It's very small. Okay, but basically you will get a letter from TUSLA just saying that you've been in the care of the state. The next one is, if you want to be considered as a member of the travelling community. You don't have to disclose this information. It's completely up to you whether you do or not. But if you do want to be considered under this category, you press yes, and then you will get a letter from the school or community group to support your application. Then the same question, but are you a member of the Roma community? And only if you want to disclose this and you want to be considered part of your application, then you'd say yes. And the same thing, you get a reference letter from your school or community group. Then, did you become a parent while in post-primary education? If it applies to you, you can say yes. You have to be the one receiving child benefit to be considered under this. And you can find it on the application form itself or on the website. and you will get that filled out by the Department of Social Protection. Then it asks about, are you applying for both here and there? Yes or no. And if it's yes, then you will send your eligibility letter to the foundation course at tcd.ie in June 2026. So when you get your results, you forward that on to us. Then there's a question, if you or your parent or guardian experienced homelessness or became homeless while in second level education from January 1st, 2024 to March 1st, 2026. If the answer is yes, then you need to get a letter from Pass headed paper to verify this. And we're asking all these questions because these groups are considered priority groups as part of here. These are people who generally have low representation in college and want to see progress into college more and more. So that's why we're asking you these questions. So the final part of this video is just talking about the essay. This is probably something that takes the most time and maybe you're the most nervous about, but you don't need to stress. This is just a way of us getting to know you better, getting to know what kind of person you are, why you want to go to college, what you want to do after college, and so on. So to start with, you have some guidance questions, such as what were your hopes for secondary school when you began? What were you involved in and what did you most enjoy at school? What did you find difficult at school? What significant influences were there in your life during that period? And what are your hopes for the future? If I were writing this, for example, I might start talking about my time in school, what I liked, what subjects I liked, what kind of things I did outside of school, my extracurriculars, my hobbies, and so on. I might then spend a section talking about my difficulties in school and also things I've learned how to do with my difficulties. Maybe, for example, if I had a learning difficulty, I'll talk about, the ways I found to cope with that. I might talk about my teachers and the ones I liked, or programs I did outside of school, or interactions I had with people from TAP or other universities, people who've influenced me in my life. Then I could talk about why I feel like the foundation course would be really helpful for me, why do I want to do it, what course I'd like to do in Trinity afterwards, and what job I would like to have in the future. Of course, if you say this, it doesn't mean that you have to do this course or you have to do this job. It's just another way for us to get to know you better. So don't stress too much about it. It's 700 words. It might seem like a lot, but it runs out quite fast. Then you have to select your course location. So if you want to do the course here in Trinity campus, you need to put Trinity as number 1. But if you prefer to do the one in the Liberties, you can press 2. The only thing to know is if you want to do science, you have to do in Trinity. Liberties only do arts, humanities and social sciences. So then we're going to save and continue. This part is asking for references. So you need to pick 2 people to vouch for you and say that, you're a brilliant student and you'd really be good at the foundation course. So maybe that's a teacher, maybe that's someone in your community, someone you volunteer with, a mentor. So what you're going to do is you're going to click here. You're going to copy and paste this link up here and send it to your referees. They'll complete it and they'll complete it, and then at the end they can press submit, so you don't need to do anything else. Just remind them that the deadline is the 28th of March because you have a little bit longer for the additional documentation that you might need. So you can just press save and continue once you've sent that on. Then if you have any sort of additional documentation you want to include in your application, that's completely optional. And then at the end, this is one of the most important parts. You need to tick this box here saying, I agree with the above statements. And again, I agree with the above statements. And of course, read through all of this. Then at the end, you need to tick and say, I have read the above privacy and declaration statements. And then please, please do not forget to click this submit application button. It's so important. People every year forget to press the submit application button, and then they don't hear from the foundation course and they don't realise it's because they never press submit. So please be sure to submit this application, and you'll get an email afterwards confirming it. So yeah, that's it. That is how to apply for the foundation course. I wish you the best of luck, and I wish you the best of luck in the Leaving Cert if you're doing it this year. And I look forward to seeing some of you during the summer and in September. Bye bye.